Okay, let's try this again. My name is Emily with Wellness for Generations, a collaborative and community of holistic wellness professionals. And today we are going to interview Kristin. There we go. Now I can add her. From New York, and she is a soul freedom coach. And it is adding her right now. And she is helping human. Oh.
Oh.
Do you have headphones? That's better. Yeah, that's better. Now I don't have an echo behind me. Okay. Kristin is a soul freedom coach who is helping humankind stop hustling for happiness and find peace within. She is from Buffalo, New York area, and she is an international coach. So if you're not local to New York area, you can still hire her as a freedom coach. So I'm really excited to talk to her today. So welcome, Kristin. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you, Emily?
I am doing excellent. This is my second week of part-time, and I've been enjoying the freedom of flexibility and time and being able to hang out with friends. So thanks for taking the time to chat with us. And you want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. So, well, I spent about 15 years in corporate. I was promoted a lot and I had a lot of achievements, but found myself never feeling happy with any of the promotions or opportunities that I had. It's not that I wasn't grateful for them, but I always thought like the next promotion was going to make me happy in my career, or this is going to be my path. Like I felt like I would finally find like my truth.
Mm-hmm.
And so I started having, because I was never finding that, I started to believe that something was wrong with me. And I started to experience a lot of anxiety. So at the time this is about 7 years ago now, I went to therapy to get a grasp on my anxiety and just really understand like what was underneath it. And really started to begin learning about emotionality and just everything that I had been suppressing.
Mm-hmm.
And just started feeling my emotions again. And then about a year and a half ago, I went to, almost 2 years ago actually, I found a coaching program where I was coached for 6 months, and then I did a 10-month certification, and I just graduated in May.
Yay, I'm so excited. I did see that and I was like, yay, she got to graduate finally. So that's awesome. And whenever you were growing up, were you taught a healthy lifestyle?
Growing up, I feel like both of my parents struggled with their weight.
Mm.
So I felt like their restrictions on themselves, went down to my sister and I.
Right.
So I always felt like deprived as a kid. And yeah, so really like I started sneaking food at a really early age because I also hit puberty at a really young age, and my body started changing before all the other kids, and to deal with all the emotions and puberty and all that, I started eating to calm myself. And then I sort of obsessively got into working out and all the dieting
Right.
culture things after that, like as early as middle school. So
Okay. Yeah, that's definitely difficult whenever things are passed down like that, like, and you feel like being deprived. I know, just a super side note, I know like I went to some different friends and stuff had different rules at their houses with different things. Like we were allowed anything at my house. And it was always like, why don't you have normal cereal? And they like
yeah,
had like sugarless cereal
yeah.
and all of that. Anyway, um, so you went to therapy for all of that, and then so you've worked through all of that for the most part then? Was that
I
some
mean,
of the reasons?
I think it's always a
Mm-hmm.
journey. I actually went to therapy because of everything that was going on in my current life.
Mm,
So,
okay.
I had a relationship end sort of abruptly and lost a couple of my
Mm,
grandparents, and I was moving up and down the East Coast for my job, and I felt like all these things sort of just came to a head and I had reached this
right.
breaking point. So I thought going into it that it was going to be everything about my current life, and
Right.
then it didn't take long for her to go back to my childhood.
Right. Yeah.
So but I'm very aware of where all my wounds came from now.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that now my journey just continues to go deeper in that.
Right. Right. Yeah. I think it's amazing, as I've learned over the last few years since having my own child, how certain things just get placed in that subconscious mind at such an early age that you don't realize. And then they come out as an adult and you're like, this is just who I am. I don't know where it came from, but um, it and being aware of it makes me personally a more conscious parent because I'm like, I want to make sure my kid doesn't have some of the same issues that I do. But yeah, so tell us a little bit about what your business is and kind of what you do, what a soul freedom coach is, and
Sure.
that kind of thing.
Yeah, so the program that I did was actually geared around food and body. So
Okay.
initially when I graduated, I was sort of targeting food and body freedom, but ended up, just as I sat with that, food was a part of my journey.
Right.
It was something that I used to numb my emotional pain. But I also used like shopping and even like drinking from time to time or working. A big part of my numbing was through work. I just worked my life away.
Right.
So I decided that I wanted to help the person who I was for all those years in corporate, just constantly, feeling unfulfilled in my life and career, not feeling like I had enough time for myself,
Mm-hmm.
even though I was the reason for that.
Right.
Feeling uncertain of my path and like my place in the world, not really feeling that purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Fear of, like the unworthiness and the not being loved because my
Right.
life didn't look a certain way or I didn't look a certain way. Being completely disconnected from myself, and just lacking that confidence to really like push through and change,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because I think once you start going against societal norms, there's that fear of rejection that
Mm-hmm.
comes up. So I want to help that person who is feeling all those things and just is really unsure of how to take the next step in their life, and really feel fulfilled and confident in what they're doing.
I love it. I know, as I have shared this on some of the other interviews, like as I've been meeting new people with different coaches, different fitness people, like just all the different people that focus on a holistic lifestyle and like different pieces of that. I'm like, I wish I had all the money in the world so I could hire all of them because like you're one that has really resonated with me just because of the stuff that you share, and I really love that that you share that kind of stuff. Um, how did you
Thank you.
come up with the name Soul Freedom Coach versus being, say, a mindset coach or whatever?
Yeah. Well, it was really like an intuitive thing. I
Mm-hmm.
knew that I really liked the freedom aspect. So it was like food and body freedom at first. And then I just came up with soul freedom because I feel like through my journey, I've been able to reconnect to myself and my soul's purpose.
Mm-hmm.
So it just really was something that resonated with me. But it was pretty intuitive,
Right.
actually.
Yeah, I know. Whenever you, because I don't think you had a complete solid name yet, or title. Whenever we had our first interview, and whenever you had that on your thing, I was like, I love that so much.
Yeah.
Um, so you kind of shared a little bit about your mission, your purpose. Is there anything outside of just the people that you want to help that you kind of have a bigger purpose for?
Oh, that's a big question. Um, I feel like it's so interesting because this journey into coaching has changed my life
Mm-hmm.
so drastically. I mean, the people who knew me in corporate, if when I see them now, they just can't believe what they see, just like how much calmer I am, and
Right.
I'm, I've just changed so much, and I feel like I've reconnected with spirituality.
Mm-hmm.
So I grew up Catholic, and I sort of, it's a bigger conversation, but was
That's
sort of
okay.
forced into the
Right.
religion.
Mm-hmm.
And so I ended up rejecting it like a little
Right.
later in my life, just for a number of
Mm-hmm.
reasons. And through coaching and meditation, I feel like I found this spiritual side of myself. And so I do a lot of meditating, and I get a lot of visions and messages through my meditation where I feel like I'm called to do things that feel way bigger than me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, for example, I just sent a video pitch to Oprah's Girls Leadership School in Africa.
That's cool.
And I was reading a book, and this woman at the end of the book was talking about legacy. And she gave the example of Oprah, and Oprah had this conversation with Maya Angelou and said, "This girl's school is going to be my legacy."
Mm-hmm.
And Maya Angelou was like, you holistically are your legacy. But anyways, when I knew she had this school, but when I read it in the book, like my soul just lit up and said, you have to reach out and coach these girls in Africa. And that's the kind of stuff that happens for me now,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like,
Right.
so I don't know that I can answer holistically like what
Right.
my purpose is, but I think it's even bigger than I can
Right.
imagine right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I just feel like so surrendered into like I don't have to control anything anymore. Like I get to get these downloads
Right.
and just follow through on this intuitive,
Mm-hmm.
guidance that I'm getting and see what happens, right? What do
Right.
I have to lose?
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yes. And just being open to that possibility of life being so much bigger than yourself. Like, and what you could do and impact. Like I have some specific things in my personal business, but I'm totally open. Like
yeah.
that's amazing. I love that you did that. So that's really cool. So you said you sent a pitch to them,
Mhm.
and then the process is just you'll hear back and kind of see where that goes.
Yeah, we'll see.
Cool. That's super exciting. I can't wait to see what happens with that. Um, that's so cool. And what do you think feels, or what do you think makes you unique in your own? Like, obviously, there's tons of different coaches. I have many on the website, but it's been so fascinating to talk to each one of them and see some of their unique qualities and like the unique people that they're looking for. What do you kind of feel makes you unique for your specific niche that you're looking to help?
I don't know if it's, well, let me say this first. So I'm very committed to the work that I do. And
Mm-hmm.
because I've seen my life transform so much, I want to show other people like how much they don't have to hustle in their life
Right.
and the power that surrender and like slowing down and presence brings
Mm-hmm.
into their life. I think like in terms of uniqueness, I think that I tend to be more on the vulnerable side. I've gotten a lot of feedback that I think a lot of coaches should, their job is
Mm-hmm.
to hold space for their clients, but I've gotten a lot of feedback in terms of my ability to sort of create this safe environment for someone immediately just
Right.
because I'm so raw and vulnerable
Mm-hmm.
myself. But I don't know if that's so unique. It's almost like I feel like we're all healers. Like if you're called into coaching and
Mm-hmm.
you're serious about it, it's
Right.
not like, just a job for
Right.
you. But you're really serious about it. I think that we're all here to speak to different people,
Mm-hmm.
in the world. And so it's more of a matter of like who connects to me and who feels attracted to like my story and
Right.
can relate to me and feels that I can hold that
Yeah.
space for them.
Okay, cool. Nice. And I definitely agree. And that's the one thing I love about the community that I'm creating is that abundance versus competition aspect, that we all are, just looking for the people that connect with us, and that,
Right.
not everyone's going to connect with me. And I know that. And I that's one of my favorite things. So what are you excited about right now? Are you working on any new programs, anything new? I know you started some local events.
I did. I started a local networking group, and my intention is to go into workshops for them. And I'm going to do workshops around like I believe I'm going to do self
Yeah.
care, and because I think that it's the easiest way to connect people to my work because my work is so deep,
Mm-hmm.
and I think giving someone a space to start thinking about what they need,
Right.
and expressing themselves and figuring out what's missing in their life, like just to start considering those things and reflecting. I think it's the easiest way to sort of transition into that work. Because they don't expect people to always know, right?
Right.
Like when I started the journey, it's like I don't feel happy. Like I got the thing and I don't feel happy, and
Right.
so I really want to help people get there. But what I'm actually excited about right now is I just actually posted on social that I'm taking a break. And I think that it's really important when you feel like there's room for you to integrate and
Mm-hmm.
heal. Like I've actually been learning a lot of universal intelligence, energy work.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been doing a lot of like progressive healing with energy,
Mm-hmm.
and it's happening so fast that I feel like my body needs to catch up.
Right.
So I really just felt like, honestly, like exhausted. Like my
Mm-hmm.
body felt like, holy, like there's so much moving around in my body energetically. Like
Mm-hmm.
I need space to just not put pressure on myself with
Mm-hmm.
my business and all the things, or look at what other people are doing online and everything. I just wanted
Right.
to sort of remove all of that pressure, and give myself that space. So
Right.
I'm acknowledging that
Mm-hmm.
as something I'm excited for, because I I think it's counterintuitive for people to think that, because it goes against what we think we should be doing,
Mm-hmm.
because we think we should be work, 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 work.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes when you slow down and allow yourself to just be,
Mm-hmm.
not sometimes, but
Yeah.
when you allow yourself to slow down and just be where you are, you actually speed up your process
Right.
because you're not rushing through
Right.
this resistance,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. And that has been something I've been trying to work through, because going part time, I'm like, okay, now I need to really like work and not just waste time. And last week I had plans to I actually had different plans on Monday, but then they got changed. And I was like, well, I could actually work today instead of like do anything. And I actually ended up just taking the day with my son, and we went to the zoo, and it was nice. And so finding to learn that balance of like when to listen to myself to stop and when to allow myself to just keep pushing through, and all of that. It's such a fascinating balance, and learning yourself and stuff like that. So I know it's going to be something that is just a continual thing, but something that right now I know this month is going to be a big transition month because of all of that. So that's cool. And I think too, and I'm just going to say this because I think it's not said enough, that like I'm proud of you for listening to yourself. Because so many people were like, well, why are you stopping? Like, you shouldn't stop.
Yeah.
1 second. Hi, you're not supposed to be in here. Please go out. What's wrong with the box? Oh, well, you're not supposed to sit on it. Flip it the other way, okay? Go back out with Darren.
Mom, where should go?
She is right there. I'd like you to stay out of the frame.
No, him.
That's her name is Kristin.
No.
Oh dear, where did he go? Okay, then go find him. But I think, what, baby?
I need in this box.
Okay, can you please shut the door?
What?
Can you please shut the door so Smokey doesn't get out? He's playing. He is hilarious. Anyway, I think so often, like whenever someone decides to take a break for themselves, people aren't necessarily supportive of it because they think, well, all of these things. Or I know like of a couple massage therapists in my circle that have had to stop for a little while, and people are like, well, you know, whatever, they aren't working and all this stuff, and I'm like, but they're listening to their bodies. Like what they do to help you, they need to do for themselves to help them. And I think it's just such a fascinating shift of thought whenever you realize like it's okay to take a break. And I just want to say that I'm proud of you for doing that.
Oh, thank you. We're so ego driven, you know,
We are.
and I think anytime you're in that I should be doing or I need to be doing, it's a reminder that it's your ego telling you
Right.
that.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. All right, we have two more questions, and they're kind of our final questions. What is one key element you think people should start working on to move the needle in their health and wellness, well-being?
I would say at the very base of everything is presence and awareness. So when you know, feel something or you start to feel yourself welling up with emotion, allowing that emotion. Even if it's anger, as women, we've learned to suppress our anger or suppress these erratic emotions. You know, because we're sort of looked at as crazy or, you know, whatever. I think the most important thing is to find a way to allow those emotions to move through you and just be aware of what's going on in your body. So I think we're so disconnected as a society and we're so used to numbing behaviors or if you started crying in front of me and I just give you tissues right away, that's me being uncomfortable, right? And not allowing you to complete your emotional process. And we're so used to like nipping that and not allowing it to flow through. And emotion is just energy that wants to move through you. So I think just when you're present and you're aware of when those emotions and feelings start to come up and you start allowing them, so much is able to transform for you because you become, you're healing first of all because you're allowing that emotion to process, but you just become so much calmer and present in your life, and it allows you to transform like exceptionally over time.
Right.
And it's not an overnight process.
Right.
It's not.
The fact that you said that, and this has come up in my mind one other time through this last night, and I don't know why my husband put this movie on, but it's one that I've actually been wanting to watch again for a really long time, but it was Inside Out. And it was just sorry, I just got a phone call. Are you still there? Hello?
I am.
Okay.
You're frozen,
Okay.
but I can.
Okay, hopefully I come back on. But anyway, with the Inside Out, how like, you know, they're suppressing that sadness and stuff for like the entire movie, and then they realize that no, that sadness needs to come out to move forward, because it's okay to have happy memories that are sad that they're not there anymore. And I just think it's something that we don't think about, and being able to allow ourselves to feel emotions. I know that's something that I have all of my life really. I've suppressed emotions. Suck it up is like, you know, that thing that all of the adults said was just suck it up, like deal with it. And so that's definitely some of the work I've had to work through is like, no, it's okay for me to cry. And my husband, he's a very like crying makes you weak kind of person, and he in the last few months has really just let me cry and just help me if I need it. And and he sees that like I need that. So it's just it's very very. I definitely agree. Being present, being aware of your emotions, your feelings, and all of that. One second. Yes.
Socks. Shirt.
Your socks are in your top drawer, and you can ask Darren to get you a new shirt. All right, one more question. What is, well, sort of, there's like one final question. But anyway, what is the one change you want to see be passed down to the future generations regarding wellness?
I think it's in alignment with what I just said, like making emotional vulnerability the norm, you know, and just bringing back human connection. Because I feel like we're just working our lives away.
I definitely agree. And I think that is so perfect. So perfect. Awesome. I'm so excited. Where can people find you? And I'll be sharing the links and stuff
All right.
too.
So, yeah. I'm on the Wellness for Generations website, and also on Facebook and Instagram. If you look up KQ Coaching, you can find me on those platforms.
Yes. And then do you want me to share your schedule link, or do you want me to wait until you are off of your break? I can share that one.
Oh,
if
you
you'd
can
like.
share it.
Okay. All right. That sounds
Yeah.
good. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me today. I hope you enjoyed it. And I look forward to having you back again another time.
Yes. Thanks so much for having me.
You're welcome. You have a great